How's your day? Can you hear me okay? The top 5 news. All the news you can use and no fake news. Just real good old-fashioned news. The good kind. You know, when we don't know what's going on, worry can weigh us down. And a cheerful word can pick us up. You can make someone's day just saying one cheerful word. That's your encouraging word for today. The other thing is the good acquire a taste for helpful conversation. Bullies push and shove their way through life. And the good acquire a taste for helpful conversation, and also a taste for manners, a taste for class, a taste for protocol. Class and protocol, manners, those weren't fine suits of mine, but I took a class on that and I got better. And you can build your skill stack too. That's the encouraging word. And in today's day and age, you could be an expert in AI with one class. So I want to encourage you to do that today. And let's jump into the news. I'm Joe Pelayo, bringing you the top 5 news roundup for September 18th today. We're diving into the biggest stories, politics, celebs, tech, and business today. Number 5 story, Dolly Parton, health scare. She had a close to home health scare, Dolly Parton, age 79. And I saw one story, it said kidney stones, and I saw another thing. So let's just say she has a health issue, and so she needs our prayers. She's ended up canceling out of an event at Dollywood. Did you know she has her own theme park? How is that for kind of like boss lady? That's pretty cool, right? Do you have your own amusement park, billionaire hotshot? No, you don't, but Dolly Parton does. She has Dollywood, which is I think 165-acre family-friendly theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's owned by Dolly Parton and Herschend, I guess, and first-class rides, Southern food. It's the largest ticketed attraction in Tennessee, and they host festivals there and other things. And it's rooted in the culture of the Appalachian life and the music. And Dolly Parton, this health bout comes just after a few months after losing her husband. So, I mean, Dolly Parton, everybody loves her. She's famous for 2 big things. She's got a big voice and a bigger personality. And so, Dolly, we're going to be praying for you. Get well soon. Fans are rallying worldwide. So everybody be praying for Dolly Parton, the singer, country queen that everybody loves. Number 4 story today, the markets rally on Fed rate cuts. NVIDIA bets $5 billion on Intel. Wall Street is on fire. 46,000 for the first time ever, closing, I should say up a percent and a little bit. Thanks to the Fed's, this is 50, but it should say 25. The Fed's 25.25 basis cut in the interest rates. I'll take a minute to trickle down to you, but that's the rate that the Fed loans to the banks at. That's a 0.25 basis rate cut. And there was a kind of a funny meme online where, there was technical data and pages and Excel spreadsheets of everything that why the rates were released. And then it said, but insiders know this is what happened. And it had an image of Donald Trump wrestling Jerome Powell to the ground in the White House briefing room. So they've been kind of pushing for this for a long time. Donald Trump taking to calling Jerome Powell too slow Jerome. And he did say he had in his address that he had noticed some weakness in the job market and whatnot. And so the question would be, well, if there is eroding in the job market already, then why didn't you cut rates earlier? And if it's eroding, then why not a 0.5 basis, 0.50 basis cut? But anyway, we want to be grateful for the quarter of a point that we did get. That's our first cut in our interest rates, ladies and gentlemen, since Europe's had 11 interest rate cuts. So let's give a round of applause to the Fed. Man, the interest rates are heading now, finally, in the right direction. So that's a good thing. The interest rates go down. I've got a friend that is in real estate, and he said he had several deals that he could have closed, but the people buying didn't want to tie up their property. When you buy a business property, and this is old news for some of you big shot business executives who I grew up with in the business, but just because we do have some new people, I bet you there's people on here who don't know who Dolly Parton is. So she's like a famous, country singer. I had, well, let me save that. I'm getting distracted. So the Fed, so when the Fed lowers the rates, business owners, a couple of things happen. One, they like the lower rates, but CEOs, they like to play offense. They really do. But one of the things they don't like the most is uncertainty, because that makes it hard for them to make decisions. Executives have a hard time with that. And so at least now we have where the interest rates are coming down. Expect a few more cuts before the year is out, and we'll see how it plays out. But this friend of mine, he's in the real estate game, and he said nobody was buying anything because they knew that the interest rates were going to come down any minute. Well, think about also for the homeowner. No one can refinance their house because they're waiting for the interest rates to tick down. It just becomes kind of like a glacier that affects all areas of business and commerce. And so now that we've kind of, ratcheted up the rates, the reason we ratcheted up the rates, most of you know this, but the reason we ratcheted up the rates is to slow down the inflation. Remember, there was crazy inflation going on, and that seems to be under control. Now the economy slows down, and so now they loosen up the interest rates so that the economy can get going again. And then if they start to sense there's interest coming, then they'll tighten down the interest rates. So the interest rates are coming down. That's a good thing for business. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ smashed records today. Bitcoin 117, which is either a record or near a record yesterday. So yeah, cheaper borrowing, softer landing, and then this NVIDIA investment, $5 billion in Intel for AI infrastructure for the next gen PC chips. Old rivals becoming partners. Probably need more of that in America right about now, right? Old rivals become partners. And this could supercharge the processors and shake up the semiconductor game. Next story is the US-UK mega nuclear deal. Excuse me. Trump's London trip. The president and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, you have to correct me on the names, but Keir Starmer and Donald Trump, they inked a $42 billion, I don't remember when a billion was a lot of money, $42 billion tech pact in London, including 12 new nuclear reactors to power up Britain. These are the gigawatt, when you think about nuclear, we were all trained to think about what was the nuclear reactor that had a meltdown. Anyway, so the big nuclear reactors are out, but they've made such advances in nuclear power now, and power is everything: battery power, nuclear power, oil, gas. Power is just everything. It makes everything better economically. So these new reactors that they have, some of them are just the size of like a small house, and they can power, in some cases, the better part of a city with a house-sized nuclear reactor. And then you don't have the risk of a nuclear reactor, blowing up. And it gives you a good energy source. Trump called it the golden age of energy. The next story is ABC Disney yanks Jimmy Kimmel off the air indefinitely. Bombshell move: Disney-owned ABC suspended Kimmel on the Jimmy Kimmel Live show after his controversial monologue where he speculated that Charlie Kirk's shooting was a MAGA person, and had no reason to say that. In other words, the people were shooting their own or something like that. I think it was, from what I read, as much what he said as when he said it. I believe he made these comments the night after the man was shot. And yeah. So anyway, the the FCC chair, Brennan Carr, he slammed it as a broadcast violation, and there's a free speech clash, because while you don't want somebody joking about somebody's death the day after, we do want free speech. And so a lot of people said, well, he didn't say anything that was illegal. He's got a right to his free speech. You have a right to free speech, but you also can be held accountable by your company, if you say something that is untimely. Or what do we start out with? Oh, this was from yesterday. Careful words make for a careful life. Careless talk may ruin everything. But also, the good acquire a taste for helpful conversations. Bullies push and shove their way through life. It just was a bad thing to say, and I won't read it to you. It actually wasn't the worst thing that I saw people saying, but it was inappropriate, so they shut him down. Free speech clash. Kimmel's was silent. The backlash is deafening. It could rewrite the late night rules. We'll see how it plays out. And then the number one story, the FTC has launched an antitrust probe into Amazon and Google for their ad dominance. The FTC doesn't like it when there's a monopoly. If there's a monopoly, and I'm not saying there's a monopoly, but apparently Google and Amazon own a strong lion's share of ad dominance. Regulators are cracking down on Amazon and Google with an antitrust investigation on their stranglehold in the online search advertising, focusing on anti-competitive practices that could be jacking up the costs. If there's a monopoly, you only have so many competitors, you can raise your costs. And kind of keeping the rivals out of it. So did they do anything wrong? I don't know. They're going to probe and try and dig in. The probe might reshape some things, how we pay for the ads, and creates a good opportunity for big tech to make a move, and get some of this AdWord gold. The AdWords when you buy the words online. If you type in, men's suiting store near me, or whatever you're searching for, then you would maybe get that ad. If you just so happen to type in executive recruiter who could help me with, a job at 6 figures on a retained search basis, with a lot of experience, maybe you'd get me if I had bought that keyword for example, right? Anyway, so the bonus story tonight for you is Luke Rolls. He's the Islanders player in hockey, and skates for camo. The NHL draft pick, Luke Rowe, is hitting the pause on the hockey to join the Air Force. Talk about serving your country. He's going to put patriotism over pucks. And that's pretty cool, Luke. Good for you. But we'll miss you on the ice. But good move. Well, that's it, friends. I'm Joe Pelayo. I'm glad that you tuned in, and I'll be here again tomorrow giving you the top 5 news stories. No fluff, no extra stuff, just the top 5 news stories and an encouraging word. What's got you fired up today? Drop a comment. Smash the like button. Am I supposed to say that? Smash the like button. And follow and repost and tune in tomorrow for more unfiltered takes. And as the great Paul Harvey used to say, good day.